So we will start with the opening statement. Start on the end here, so you can announce, of course, your name, why you're running, why people should vote for you, and all that jazz. Starting.
I'm David Maples. I've supported Pompey since the 1960s. During that time, Pompey's probably been one of the worst run clubs in the Football League. Venables bought us for £1, Mandaric bought us for £1, so financial mismanagement isn't just recent. Pompey was the last club in the top 2 divisions to be all-seater. Pompey had the biggest reduction in any capacity of any club. It's a poor legacy, but we've got one great asset, and that's the fans. Football without fans is nothing, and we've got some of the best. The Trust and the club board have completed the rescue. I'm standing for the next stage, rebuilding the club. At last year's AGM, I put forward a motion calling on the Trust board to investigate the future funding needs of the club. I look forward to their report. I believe that it's unreasonable to expect the club presidents to continuously fund each new project that comes along, and it's dangerous to hope that an investor comes along. We've had Gaidermack, Alfheim and Chanrai, who cannot again be an investor's plaything. FC United of Manchester raised £6 million to move to their own ground without a big investor. AFC Wimbledon have a funded scheme to move to a 12,000 capacity ground. We have a lot to learn, and I want to be part of that process. I've called in my candidate statement for summaries of all the key agreements regarding the club and the Trust to be published. I want an informed debate about the future of the club, and in 10 years' time, I'd like to see us back in the Championship with a bigger capacity stadium. As a board member, I'd work towards that objective. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for listening. I'm Johnny Oertel. My first name is Johannes Schmidt. So I played here for football club for 3 years. Love this club. I'm also a fan and supporter. And my reason why I'm standing for the PST board is because I think I can bring a completely different perspective to the board. I've been a player. I know what's going on there, and I just wanna help to shape the future of this club. And I see a lot of potential here at this club. And when we all pull into the same direction, we can definitely achieve something. I think also very important is the communication. Portsmouth Football Club, the PST, also Pompey in the community. And what I'm looking at is like, I grew up in a community club in Austria, and trusts are not so established in the UK, more abroad like in Germany or in Austria or where I come from, so we can learn from that best practice, I would say. Just make the PST like a cult thing, and to increase also the membership. It's a really, really big thing. I would like to achieve if I'm gonna be on the board. So that's in a nutshell right now, and please feel free to ask me any questions. Thank you very much.
My name's Claire Martin. I run Pompey in the community currently. I've worked at the club now for 14 years. So I've had the privilege to sort of know the difference the Pompey brand and Pompey can make, not only in the local community but in the whole area. I was co-opted onto the board of the Trust just before, in fact 2 meetings before the second administration, with the aim of sort of making our community links a little bit more strategic. Obviously with the focus then shifting on survival, I stepped away, waiting for the right time, and I feel now is the right time to perhaps come back onto the board. Obviously, whether I'm elected, whether I'm not elected, those links will still be there. It's just probably easier if we're sat around the same table regularly to make those links a little bit more strategic. And I guess my aim is, the club are very generous in their tickets and that sort of thing, but they give them to Pompey in the community, and Pompey in the community distribute them. And then we hear, oh, the club aren't doing anything, Pompey in the community are. And that's just wrong. I don't think it should matter what comes after the Pompey, as long as it's Pompey. Pompey Supporters Trust, Pompey in the community, Pompey Community Football Club, Pompey Amputee Football, Pompey Ladies, Pompey Academy, as long as it's Pompey. And I think that's what's missing now. It's become, we were slightly separated in the administration for strategic reasons and for survival. And now we need all to pull back together so nobody says anymore, what are the trusts actually doing? Because it's out there and everybody will see what they're doing because we're all working together for one common aim. And that is to get the kids of today, who perhaps won't see Pompey or won't see Pompey on the television, back in and wanting to belong to the club. Not just to come to matches, but actually feel they belong to something. Our junior membership has gone from 2,000 down to about 400. And that's because we need to reintroduce that feeling of belonging. So they don't just come to a match, they come to a match and feel they belong and that they're welcome. And that's kind of my main aim is families, and I've been cut.
No, don't completely forget those final 3 words you said. Hi, my name's Scott McLachlan. I've been a Pompey fan for 40 odd years. Unbelievable as it looks, obviously. But I was on the Pompey Supporters Trust board. I was lucky enough to be elected at the first election after the steering group. I was involved in some of the work to do with the steering group and some of the supporters clubs in the lead up to the formation of the trust. And very quickly I became heavily involved as a spokesman and also involved in the media side, which I'd like to think I did pretty well, and I hope that everyone has good memories of me working on the trust. But that's the past. The trust has achieved its aim unbelievably, and well done to everybody in this room because we were all involved in that one way or another. We now own our football club. The problem for the trust is that it has achieved its main aim. It was forged in a fire, if you like, and has been burnt by that fire because it was forged on a war footing. It's now on a peace footing, and for me, I think that it struggled to get hold of its identity and its aims and what it needs to do over the next few years, and basically engage people. It hasn't engaged people for a very long time. It's been struggling to achieve its aims. And one of the main things I want to do is make the trust more engaging. I'll give it more of a purpose. I want to give it more of an aim. And a lot of that is to do with organisation and governance. And unfortunately, the trust has had a turbulent year. We all know that what's been happening in the last 12 months. We lost a lot of board members last year. That shouldn't happen again. We should have strong leadership and we should have strong governance, and the trust should organise itself. And my aims for the first 12 months, amongst a few other things on my manifesto, which I hope you've read, would be to make sure that the trust organises itself far, far better than it has done the last 12 months.
My name's Sheila Devaney. I'm not going to tell you how long I've been a supporter of because that's what everyone does. The reason I'm standing is that I actually did 25 years worth of work in the voluntary sector, from very small organisations right through to very large organisations, and I managed to get a whole breadth of skills and experience from membership and growing membership and shaping the organisation for the future. I also was very heavily involved in all the governance sides of the voluntary sector, so I know that sort of, inside out. I worked in finance, I worked in the legal part, but what I enjoyed most of all was strategies, getting together a plan of action to shape the organisation and its future. When I saw that the trust was actually experiencing some difficulties that a new organisation normally goes through anyway. It's just one of those things, it's the sort of the form, storm, norm, perform kind of management speak. And I think we're at the storm, just moving out of the storm into the form. And I just think that I have the skills that could help shape the future of the PST, which is why I'm standing.
Running out. All slack.
Hi, I'm Simon Colbrook, and I've spoken quite a bit in previous occasions and through my manifesto about issues like communication, vision, But what I wanted to touch on in this short discussion was I was asked on Saturday whether I'd stand or whether I'd be willing to be the treasurer if I wasn't elected. I'm an accountant, by the way, in case you didn't know. And I think the role of treasurer is really important and needs to be an elected board member. The treasurer is responsible for the money that all of you have put in, either the £1,000 or the £5 a year, and making sure that the club itself is being run on a sustainable basis as well. And I think that needs to be an elected board member. That person needs to be accountable to the membership and not just an officer who's been appointed. The rules allow for that, but I do think as a role it's too important to just be an appointee. And that really was the main reason I initially thought of standing. But then after that, having looked at what is the trust, what's it trying to achieve, and for me, how does the trust and the club work in partnership to get everything back where we want it, which is the Championship, challenging for the Premier League in a newly developed stadium or a redeveloped Stratton Park. And I think I have experience in working with lots of small organisations up to medium-sized organisations on finances and on strategic planning, which I think can help that process. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name's Alex Burnell. I'm 36 years old. I actually thought I was the youngest member standing for election until Johnny hit me when I found out he was 33 the other day. So the youth vote's out the window. I currently live in Fratton. The reason that I'm standing is a little bit cliched. It's, you want to make a difference, don't you? You want to be part of something that's a collective, that you're a team, it's not an I, it's everybody. And that's what I see here. I see that we all are we. We're not I, we're not me. Yes, you might be voting for me, you might not. But it's about us, where we want to be, and where we're going to go. And to do that, I think we're in a point of transition. So this is where I feel I've stuck my head up above the parapet for the first time ever and thought I have potential skills and abilities that could help this transition. I come from a corporate background. I've spent the last 15 years in facilities management, which is a very, very process-driven service delivery organisation. I think simple things like roles and responsibilities, certain processes, certain documentation needs to be done and needs to be communicated effectively out to our membership, so there's expectations that are set. I would like to be part of the team that sets those expectations in consultation with yourselves, and that's it. Thank you.